ever wondered why no matter how many budgeting tips you read or financial plans you make, you still can't quite get ahead? You know the advice: spend less, save more, invest in your future. It sounds simple, right? So why does it feel so hard? Today, we're diving into the real reason people stay stuck financially. And it's truthfully not about how much money you make or how much you know about individual retirement accounts. The truth is, the biggest barrier to wealth isn't in your wallet at all. It's in your mind. In today's episode, I'm going to show you how rethinking your beliefs about money can be the game changer you need to move toward real financial freedom. It doesn't matter if you're working a high-powered job, living paycheck to paycheck, or even an entry-level job like working and flipping burgers at McDonald's. This is about taking control of your future. Ready to challenge everything you thought you knew about building wealth? Let's get to it.
Welcome to the Financial Mirror. Where future success is reflected in our knowledge of fixing the one thing we can control: ourselves.
Welcome to the Financial Mirror, and thanks for joining me today as we continue to work to improve the one thing that we can control: ourselves. Here at the Financial Mirror, it is not about the numbers and spreadsheets alone, but about transforming and educating you on money so that you can make smarter financial decisions. If this is the first time you are joining in, don't forget to hit subscribe on YouTube to be notified of all the new episodes as they are released. And if you're listening to this on Rumble, don't forget to follow the channel and like the video. And on any podcast platform of your choice, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. So today we are talking about something that I am sure many people have battled with. Have you felt like you know what you should be doing with money, but you're just not doing it? That is what so many people are struggling with when it comes to finances. And today I want to talk just about that and how getting over that hump, getting past that barrier, is what's going to get you toward your financial goals and help you set yourself up in your financial future. Because knowing technical terms of what an IRA stands for, or how to use an IRA, or if you should be in a Roth or traditional, to be honest, it really doesn't matter. Well, let me not say it doesn't matter. It matters very little if you're not doing these other things. Let that be something that you focus on later. And today, let's not think through choosing the right account, but instead thinking through how we can adopt the right mindset to achieve our financial goals. I ran across this article. The guy's name is Brad Klontz, and he has a very interesting perspective. First off, it had an amazing headline because the title of the article was "You Can Work at McDonald's and Still Become a Millionaire." And I said, okay, tell me more. I agree with this statement. Tell me more of why this is true in this article's case. What Klontz goes on to talk about is he's not looking at it from a sense of being this financial guru that talks about all these fancy algorithms and mechanisms for you to make a lot of money. Instead, he talks about how the biggest thing that people need to do to become rich is adopt a rich versus poor mindset. That's what he talks about mostly. And he goes through this whole article, and I've got a link down in the description below to this article, but he talks about how it's not about what you know in terms of the knowledge about all these different financial instruments or these different strategies around investing or saving money or whatever the case have you. It is all about financial psychology. And when he goes through that, it's a very, very interesting concept because, for many people, that's where they don't spend a lot of time. They focus on, well, here's this new app that automatically invests, rounds my dollars and invests money for me. Here's this new savings account with this, 4.75% interest rate versus the 4.25 I have right now. And they spend so much time focusing on all of those things that they end up wasting a lot of their time and not really ever getting to the root of the problem. That their financial psychology has to change for them to really make an impact. So that's kind of what I want to talk through today. So when we look at this article, it's very easy to see that he does a really good job of going through and discussing things like the rich versus poor mindset and how if you will embrace and think through how I can think rich, that kind of going back to the book, if I can think rich, I can grow rich, right? So that's really what he is talking about. But he spent many years looking at the difference between why are people remaining broke even when they know what they need to be doing, right? They know that they need to save money. They know they need to invest. They know all of these things. So if you know what to do and that isn't the problem, what is the problem? So the answer is something that is called money scripts. And that's where we want to start today. So let's think through money scripts. Money scripts are these very deeply ingrained, often like subconscious beliefs about money. Like money is the root of all evil, or rich people are greedy, or all of these type of things. These are all these like money scripts. It's the things that you really tell yourself over and over again. The most interesting thing when we think about money and we think about how people react or how they manage money, it's very interesting that a lot of these things come from traditionally, like we see these things coming from like family, culture, or those like early life experiences, and they really shape how we manage or see money. It is really deeply ingrained in us. And there's an article I found for a study that was done over at the University of Michigan that showed how children form attitudes about money at a very young age. So it goes through and it talks a lot about the difference in these like spendthrifts versus like a tightwad, and how kids are, even as young as, 5 to 10 years old, already have a belief about money. They already have this like innate understanding of just enough about money that they fall into one of those categories. Do they spend, freely, or are they kind of tight with their money and they want to save first? It is very, very interesting because they go through and they talk about how even like kids that are like more on the spendthrift side of the scale, that they are more likely to buy things even if they don't have this like real desire for it. Like if they only kind of want it, they'll still buy it. And that is so interesting to think about, is that we see that with adults too, right? Like I think, and I'll be honest, I think Amazon return policy has changed a lot of shopping mechanisms for everyone. I think everyone was a benefit of it. Also a curse slightly with the return policy, but the convenience factor, the convenience to be able to spend, like I don't even really need this or want this, but it's so easy. It's so easy to open up an app and buy it and you just get it. Right? Used to, it was so much more difficult. Before online shopping, before that was such a convenient factor, you would go to the store and you would buy this thing and you would have it with, the day of you would get it because you would be in the store, but you'd have to travel to wherever that store is and whatever have you. But these are these very, very early on beliefs that we get about money. And I did an episode last week about teaching your kids about money. And I challenge you, if you're watching this today and you haven't seen that, or you have kids, or you have nieces or nephews or grandchildren or whatever, there's opportunities for you to start, regardless of their age, to start teaching them about money in a healthy way. So I recommend you go check out that video to really start to get a handle on some small things that you can do with children to start to teach them and educate them about money within your own home. Don't wait for a school system to educate your child about money. You can start to do that today. So these are all things that we can do as individuals to help grow and talk through future generations to learn more about money. But those money scripts, those are powerful. Things like I'll never have enough, that will lead to overspending or this feeling of like financial hopelessness. Like it keeps you there in this I'll never have enough mentality. It's important to look successful. Like you have to dress to be successful, and like all those things like that will tend people to think about prioritizing status and symbols over like real savings, right? Like there's these things that we tell ourselves and it drives our decision making about money, and it's truly negative. Like it takes you in the wrong direction. So what are your beliefs? What are those deep money scripts that you tell yourself pretty constantly? What are they? What are those things that when you tell yourself that, like it creates this like emotional reaction about money? Put those in the comment section. I challenge you, put them in the comment section. Let's see what are some of those that are super common. And I would love to do an episode on things that people are saying that are super common across the board, because those little things, those little sayings that you tell yourself is what's keeping you from getting to that next level. Is keeping you from reaching that next financial goal, because I'll be honest with you, they're probably holding you back. They're not helping you. So these money scripts, they can keep us in financial patterns that really don't serve us well, but they're the only thing, or they're not the only thing that is keeping people stuck. So I do want to talk about another powerful concept that Klontz brings up in that article, and it's that difference between, and I kind of mentioned it, but it's the difference between being broke and being poor, right? Being broke and being poor. And it's really and truthfully a mindset. And I want to start with the fact that kind of break down, what do these mean? People will say I'm broke, and they'll say it, but it could be true and it could not be true. But the good part about being broke is it's a temporary situation. Being broke is temporary. You should not remain broke, right? Being broke is you have little money at that very moment. So you can be broke, but you should eventually not be broke, right? Like being broke is very temporary. Now, there's this other thing about being poor, right? Being poor is a mindset that will prevent people from ever kind of moving on and starting to build wealth. Because, and I look at it as like a continuum. You start out being broke, and then, you kind of come out of being broke and you have a little money, and then you're broke again. And then you kind of come out of being broke, and then you broke again. And all of a sudden you will fall into a mindset is that I'm poor, right? And now I'm consistently broke. And once you fall into that trap, once you fall into that I'm poor mindset, it can truthfully change the trajectory of your finances, because it creates a sense of hopelessness. Like I feel hopeless that I'm not going to ever have money. I'm not going to ever be able to build wealth. And now you see what we're doing. We're creating new money scripts that are compounding on top of our old and deeply rooted old money scripts that we either learn from our family or learn from our culture or our community or our school or whatever. But you create this new mindset around money, and it's dangerous. It's really dangerous. Think about, a broke college student who lives frugally, but they invest small amounts. At times, that student may feel broke, right? They may feel broke. They may have very little money. They may have spent it all at the bar. They may invest $15 a month. They may have literally $4 in their checking account at a given time. They may actually feel broke at times, right? But they're making decisions that will not make them become poor, right? They're investing $15 a month, even though it's a small amount. They're making decisions that are going to build them towards financial freedom. Sure, it's not $150 a month, it's $15. But they may be broke at times, those temporary situations, but what they're doing is preventing themselves from ever feeling poor, right? If someone, and this is the opposite end of the spectrum, someone earns a great salary. Let's say they make $100,000 a year, great salary, but they continually spend beyond their means. They will be stuck in this cycle of financial stress. And eventually, they could begin to feel poor. They could actually become poor, right? They could become so far in debt that $100,000 income doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter. And who is becoming more financially wealthy? That college kid, right? the college kid, that $15 a month is going to add up quick. Give it some time. The habits that college kid's forming to build that wealth, it is adding up. Versus this person, this great $100,000 salary that continually spends beyond their means, they will become poor. They will. They'll make $100,000 and be poor. It's the most mind-blowing thing, but it is something that starts with a mindset. So I encourage you, ask yourself, am I genuinely poor? Are you? Are you genuinely poor? Have you made decisions financially that has put yourself into a position where you are genuinely poor? Like you don't have enough money to get by. Like you're not like in this like broke situation, like where this month I'm a little tight. Like that's like that feeling of being broke. But are you really in a situation where you are poor? Like regardless of your income, is there something that you can change to no longer be broke, right? And that's kind of how I base those differences. If you are making, I don't care about your income, and you can see that in the episode title is this has nothing to do with income, because people that make a ton of money can be poor. They can. So what I wanted to talk about was to make sure that you see that anyone, regardless of income, can be poor, but also anyone, regardless of income, can escape that poor mindset. They just have to make choices that prioritize financial stability. You have to first look at choices that will prioritize financial stability. That is going to be the key. That is going to be the key. And I found this little website on MarketWatch, and it's a 2024 survey, last updated, about just 3 or 4 weeks ago. But it's very interesting because it talks through all the different trends of generations and how they view money. And I think that this is very important. I think that it's very important. And there's a lot of little highlights that I was looking at. This was the first one. Do you consider yourself financially responsible? And this is by age group. So from baby boomers to Gen Z, it has consistently dropped. And the drop from baby boomers to Gen X is the most drastic of all, like most drastic of all. So it's interesting, right? It's interesting. We are considering ourselves to be less and less financially responsible generation to generation. One of the other ones that I looked at that I thought was interesting is that this one right here is, are you familiar with these account types? Baby boomers, this goes back to education a little bit, but if you look at it, baby boomers were more familiar with the account types than Gen X, and they were more familiar with the account types, or millennials were more familiar with the account types than Gen X, but Gen Z, it goes all the way back to like less than the baby boomers. So it's very, very interesting how like it's kind of rotated between generation of how much people talk about money. But anyways, this was a very just interesting little sheet to just kind of give you an idea of generational trends that people do. Which of the following have you done in order to pay an unexpected bill? Gen Z mostly uses savings, or they ask their family. Millennials kind of use savings or credit cards. Gen X uses savings or credit cards, may ask family. Baby boomers drastically use savings and credit cards. So just very interesting, that there's different trends in here. But I challenge you, just take a peek at that little article. It may give you some insight into why and how you think about money, and is there like a generational trend that goes with how you think about money. But the other thing I want to talk about was, how can you start to change your financial future? Because it isn't just about earning more. Will earning more make it easier? Sure. But it's like, let's think about it from a sense of dieting and exercise and losing weight. Will eating less calories make you lose weight? Sure. Will exercising more allow you to eat more calories? Yes. Will earning more money allow you to spend more money and still stay ahead? Yes. But will just cutting back the amount of money you spend and not changing your income also help you get ahead? Yes. It's like cutting calories, cutting spending. You can still reach your goal without ever having to earn more. So if earning more feels like it's impossible, that's okay. You don't have to. You just need to spend less. You just need to start to make better decisions with what you do have. And that's kind of making those small, consistent shifts toward that rich mindset. So that's what I want to talk about is let's dive into what that means. Like, how can I start to develop a rich mindset? Like, I no longer want to think poor, like I'm broke or I'm poor. I want to start to think about developing this rich mindset. So what does that mean? So the first thing when you think about a rich mindset is focusing on owning time instead of material possessions. Start to think long term. Start to think about the growth of this money, not just the value of that dollar at the moment, but what could that dollar become, right? What could that dollar become? And some of the different aspects that I like to encourage people to think about is that future orientation. So if you're starting to develop a rich mindset, think about the future and saving and investing, even if you have to say no to some of the things you want right now. Like, it's very common. People want something right now and they're willing to spend the money on it, and they forego thinking about their future. You've got to prioritize your future. You have to. You really have to. So that's kind of the first thing that you can do is start to focus on my future. How can I save? How can I invest? If it's only $10, how can I just put $10 aside? Very, very important. Second thing that you can do to really focus on grasping that rich mindset is prioritizing the freedom over the stuff. Wealth building means prioritizing your financial future over these flashy, symbolic purchases. Because you have this cool, fancy car and you're poor, it means nothing. Like, hopefully you know that. Hopefully you're surrounding yourself with people that don't prioritize nice, flashy cars, because it really does not move the needle. Now, if you can walk onto a Lamborghini lot and pay cash for the Lamborghini, and you own your house and your house is paid off and all those things, and you can just buy a Lamborghini, cool. You're buying something that you can afford that you wanted, right? And you've been doing things the right way all along. I'm not going to knock you for that, but for you to go buy, a $200,000 car and your house isn't paid off and you have this now auto loan that you're going to be paying on for the next 72 months or whatever the case is, it's not a rich mindset idea. It really isn't. So I challenge you to start thinking about things through that rich mindset, because you've got to challenge the myth that rich people are big spenders. Rich people are not big spenders. First and foremost, do they spend money? Sure. Right. But your equivalence of spending $1,000 on something is their equivalence of spending $100,000 on something. Right. So sure, they may have like more luxurious items that they get, but percent of income is probably fairly similar. They don't just go and buy, right? They do prioritize savings and investments. You can look at any professional athlete that has filed bankruptcy or filed some type of, or has gone broke after they made millions and millions and millions, and see that if you don't prioritize savings and investments, it will catch up to you. Your spending will catch up to you and you will be poor, right? Like if you have a lot of money and you don't adopt a rich mindset, you will end up poor. It is your outcome. So if you got to stop thinking that people that are rich just have it easier, like life's just easier for them. It really isn't. They still have to do the same things that you're having to do, maybe just at a larger scale, but they still have a rich mindset. So if you will go and adopt a rich mindset, you will eventually build the wealth that you want, right? And it doesn't have to be difficult, but it does require shifting some old beliefs that are probably deeply, deeply rooted and deeply ingrained. So I did want to give you 3 quick steps that you can do and take action today to develop that rich mindset. The first thing that you can do is pay yourself first, right? You've got to set up a way to move money right when you get paid into a savings or investment before spending. You've got to do it. I encourage you to set up automatic transfers to savings accounts so that you don't feel tempted to not save that money, right? So pay yourself first. Step 2 is do that automatically. And step 3 is cut unnecessary expenses. Identify one expense that could reduce, like dining out. Dining out, subscriptions, shopping, those are kind of some of those hot items that you can easily change. But you've got to cut somewhere. Identify just one that you can cut and cut it. And watch. Your life won't crumble. It will only get better. It will. If you're a tightwad or a spendthrift, like you will feel better about your money. So 3 easy things. Pay yourself first. Do it automatically. And cut unnecessary expenses. If you will do those 3 things, you will be on track to adopt a rich mindset. You will start to build toward that rich mindset just by doing those things. So I challenge you. You've got to be able to shift that. And like I said, in the article, it talked a lot about how you can, on any income, you can become a millionaire. And I don't disagree with that statement at all. I don't. It doesn't matter who the president is. It doesn't matter what you learn from your parents. It doesn't matter anything. Nothing matters. Nothing matters except for, are you doing what it takes to reach your financial goals? And if you're not, don't blame it on anything else. Blame it on yourself. That's all I ask. Don't point blame at anything or anyone else if you're not doing the simple things to reach your financial goals. And I can break it down. 2 things. The only 2 things that you need to do at a high level is spend less than you make and invest in your future. Right? In that, very detailed step, that's kind of broad level 2 things, but under that is those 3 steps we just talked about, right? Pay yourself first, do it automatically. That's the invest in your future. Cut out unnecessary expenses. That means spending less than you make, right? But if you can do those things, you will be better off. Now, I did want to pull some things together just to show you how anyone can become a millionaire. So I did 2. Here was the first one. This is an example of someone at age 30, very modest, life just got together, probably have a good job at that point. Target millionaire age 65. This is from Bankrate is where I pulled this chart from. Currently invested, let's say they're starting at 0, like they've done nothing from age 0 to age 30. And they start setting aside $500. $500 a month they start setting aside. 8%, modest 8% return, right? 8 to 10% is very, very real. It's a realistic number. They only need to save $500 a month, and in the next 35 years, they will be a millionaire. They will have 1,078,176 is the number that's here, right? So you can do it. $500 a month for 35 years, and you will be a millionaire. And that's if you did nothing from age 0 to 30. You did nothing, you will be a millionaire. Let me show you another one. Let's say you started at 18 years old. You want to be a millionaire by 65. You need to save $180 a month if you're 18. If you're listening right now, if you're listening and you're 18, 19, 20, if you're a parent and you have an 18, 19, 20-year-old, I challenge you. Talk to them about money. Talk to them how a little part-time job, a little something to start saving money each month will make a world of difference. And it doesn't have to be 180. Like you can play with this calculator. Let's say it's $25 a month. Let's say from the age 18 to 30, they save $25 a month. So what I want you to look at. So from age 18 to 30, they saved $25 a month at a modest 8% return, they would have 5,937. So now right here, we put in 5,937. But now we're 30, right? And we want to be 65. And now we're going to go back up to doing 200. Go to 200. At 200, you'd have $519,000. At 300, you'd have $734,000. At 400, you'd have $950,000. 425, you're a millionaire, right? You saved $25 a month from 18 to 30, $25 a month. And then at 30, you bumped it up to 425. You're a millionaire by 65. Case closed. Anyone can become a millionaire. Anyone. And if you're 30 and you don't have the $400, $500 of extra income in your budget to invest to become a millionaire, we've got to cut expenses, right? Like we've got to cut somewhere. You don't have to make more money. Find where you can cut $500 because that's all you need to become a millionaire. That's what's keeping you from becoming a millionaire is that $500. Because if you're 30 and you had $0 saved, you need $500 a month and you're a millionaire. $500 a month invested and you're a millionaire. It doesn't matter where you're at. It doesn't matter where you're working. It doesn't matter what you're doing. We've got to find that money that we can invest with. Many people spend a lot of money on food, subscriptions, and shopping. I don't know how much that is for you, but regardless, if you can find $500 and you're 30 years old, you will be a millionaire by 65. You will. You have $1 million sitting in the bank waiting on you. That number changes. It changes for everybody. Everybody's situation is different. Everyone's number is different. What you've saved so far, what you inherit, like all these things are different, right? Because remember, $500 doesn't have to be, if you get a lump sum that falls into your lap like a tax return, invest it. It only makes that easier. So I challenge you, go after the little things and learn to start small and build wealth gradually. Start small and build wealth gradually. You can do it. Remember, becoming financially free is not about perfection. It's not about choosing a Roth or a traditional IRA. It's not. Sure, there's better options for certain people, but if you chose one or the other, it does not matter. That $500 a month is going to grow and grow and grow. And sure, there's differences in withdrawals, rules, and all that. But who cares if you have $1 million? You are doing drastically better than most because most people are not making these small decisions today to invest in their financial future. So remember, it's about small, consistent actions that align with that rich mindset. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Make small, consistent changes, just one little step forward every day, and you will be on your path to financial freedom. Now, if you do need to get a little help from make sure you're on the right track or that you're budgeting correctly or like just help looking for the $500, happy to sit down and go over your finances with you and ensure you're on the path to your financial goals. Just head over to thefinancialmirror.org and hit book now in the middle of the screen and schedule your free consultation today. I challenge you, make small steps to reach your financial goals. I truly appreciate everyone tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share this episode. Share it with everybody you know. The more people we can get to continue to make these small steps, the better our circles are with people that are focused on their financial future and not on the flashy and glamorous things. So till next week, continue improving the one thing you can control, yourself. Peace.
Well, that wraps up today's Financial Mirror. Join us next week as we continue to work on ourselves, change our mentality, and to commit to achieving the success we always envisioned. Regardless of your platform, help us grow as a community. Please like, subscribe, and share with the people in your lives.